proud members of the Fan First Sports Network. On my list just because he's the obvious one. We did this last year. I know that's fine.
That's like not giving the MVP to the most valuable player.
This is a top 6 list. We're leaving off the ones.
No, hold on.
Sweet.
But to be fair, we did this last year where we did the top 5 newcomers, and we all collectively said we're just not going to put
45, 40, 35, 40. He's gonna go. It's time people feel it.
Big Red Junkies.
Day by day, he gets better and better. If we die, we die.
Man, put a child in that. Put him in the aisle.
Bring that trophy back to Lincoln.
There's a real beer crack.
Yeah.
Hey, it's mid to late March football lists. We're getting into it.
A little work assignment release. Yeah. Is that why you're here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah.
For those of you who haven't been here before, this is Matt. He's recently out of prison. And this is Jed, and I'm BJ. Thank you for stopping into the Big Red Junkies. We try and get a weekly show out. Sometimes it doesn't always happen in the off season, especially when we're all super, super busy. But that's our goal, is for one show a week. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Hit that notification bell. If you're listening to us online, please give us a follow. We'd love to pump those numbers up.
And if we don't get a show out per week, it'll be at least every 2 weeks.
You can find us on Twitter and yell at us.
Yeah,
it'll be fine.
That's fine too.
And if you haven't grabbed a beer to join in with us already, get at it.
Yes.
Jump on it.
I don't care that you're at work.
Or that it's 5:30 in the morning and you're at the gym.
Who cares?
Today we're talking about top 5 returners on the offensive side of the ball.
Yes.
We have some exciting guys coming in. There's been a lot of talk about the transfer portal, a lot of talk about the newcomers in the freshman group.
And we'll get to those guys later. Right now we're focused on the guys that are returning on the offensive side of the ball. Matt, go ahead and kick us off with number 5 on your list.
So number 5 on my list, he's kind of a distant number 5 just because I think the other 4 that I have on here are going to be really important. Number 5 is Luke Lindenmeyer.
I like it.
And
I got a different tight end, but yeah.
Yeah. And so that's the thing. I chose to go with the one guy that we actually know what he's going to do this year. I think that there is a chance that this Harberg experiment that they do with him at tight end will turn out really well. He's got the body for it. But Lindenmeyer played well last year, and I expect that to continue. So he's my number 5.
Yeah, he absolutely did. First and foremost, before I get into any part of my top 5, I will just flat out say I did not have Dylan Raiola on my list just because he's the obvious one. We did this last year. I know that's fine.
That's like not giving the MVP to the most valuable player.
This is a top 6 list. We're leaving off the ones.
No, hold on.
Sweet.
But to be fair, we did this last year where we did the top 5 newcomers, and we all collectively said we're just not going to put Raiola on there because he's the obvious one. So we have set precedent on me not having Raiola on
Your list
there.
has an asterisk.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'm just letting you know Dylan Raiola is not my number 1 because
he's
the obvious number 1. But anyway.
Jed fucked up. Okay.
Cool. My number... Wait. When we do the defensive one, you're going to yell at me even more. So.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Let's get after it.
My number 5 is going to be Jakory Barney. He's the obvious return, leader in the... I know that there's other guys that are older and more experienced, but as far as being in actually Nebraska's locker room, knowing the system, knowing what the coaches expect and all that stuff, maybe not from the wide receivers coach like other guys that have come in. What Jakory Barney was able to do as a true freshman, and again, with him being the local leader in that room, I just think he's got to be on the top 5 list.
Cool. I have him up further. I'll talk about him more when we get there for mine on that, because typically when we've done these shows in the past, I am like, cool, that's my number 2, and here's why.
Yeah.
That's my number 4, and here's why. And I go completely out of fucking order.
That's okay.
I'm going to try and stick in order this time, at least until I get too far along here. My number 5 is probably actually going to surprise you guys a little bit, but I think it's Teddy Prohaska.
Okay.
Simply because we don't know what that right tackle position looks like just yet. It's going to be interesting because the 3 guys that are really most likely going to be slotting into that spot have all been playing left tackle their whole time in college so far. Other than Corcoran, I guess it's been just a hot minute over on the right side. But Corcoran, Prohaska, and Gunnar Gatula are all going to get a fair shake at that. Unfortunately, they're all dealing with different injury issues right now, and we're not going to get to see much of them in the spring.
Yeah.
But obviously, right tackle, as we saw through the ups and downs, the roller coaster that was Bryce Benhart, it's a very important position, and we've got to have stability there. Hopefully, these guys can stay healthy this season. I think what you saw Gunnar Gatula show at left tackle last year was a valiant effort, and that he has the size and the ability. He just needs to put it all together at the collegiate level. He got some valuable experience last year. Is he going to be able to apply that and win the job this year? I'm not sure. Prohaska has a little bit more maturity on him. He has not basically the same experience, actually even a little bit less. His injury history has been terrible, but he is a guy that going into 2 seasons ago when he was supposed to be healthy, supposed to be our left tackle, he was one of the guys we were most excited about along the offensive line.
Yep.
And we've kind of all just forgotten about his potential and his talent that he showed as a true freshman here.
I agree with one of those 3 guys being on the list. I don't think any of them get a shake at right tackle at all.
Who do you think gets right tackle?
Eliza Pritchard.
No, he's going to be our left tackle.
I thought he was coming in for right tackle.
No, he's going to be our left tackle.
Okay.
Pritchard is coming. He started every game last year at Alabama at left tackle. He's not coming in here to play right.
I have 2 offensive linemen on my list, and you'll hear them later. I really wanted to put Teddy and Turner on the list just because of their experience. You talked about the maturity of Teddy and all that stuff. Their injury history, I just couldn't do it.
No, I'm with you.
Like, I wanted Teddy, specifically Teddy on this list. I wanted to have Turner on the list. With their injury history, I just couldn't pull the trigger.
So let's back up just a hot minute. Is this the top 5 list of guys we're most excited about or guys that we think are most important?
I will say a little bit of both on mine, to be honest with you. It's how you interpret it.
That's fair, because for me, this was excitement.
That's fine.
And I'm just imagining, you have to go clean to slate with these guys.
Yep.
And I'm just imagining him having a healthy season. If he has a healthy season with his size and his skill level, if he can put together a healthy season, he is looking at scouting. He is looking at NFL talks because he has every other tool imaginable.
He's got to be really healthy all season, though.
That's what I mean, though. If he can put together a full season.
Don't stub your toe. Don't clip your nail wrong. Like, those NFL scouts are not even going to sniff at him if he's injured.
Somebody please baby-proof
all.
his apartment.
Yeah.
Seriously. Has he even had a full season?
No.
Since becoming a Husker?
No.
Nope.
So, I agree with you. If he can have a full season, that'd be amazing.
100%.
It would be incredible to see what that right tackle position looked like with him and a healthy Corcoran and a healthy Gunnar Gatula all pushing each other for that spot.
Mm-hmm. Well, Matt brought up Pritchett. You basically have those 4 guys: Pritchett, Gatula, Prohaska, and Corcoran.
Pritchett's going to play where he's most comfortable.
But you got 4 quality options, especially if they're all healthy at either of the 2 tackle positions. I'll take it. Like that's something we haven't had in a long time. We've had bodies, but we haven't had quality options.
Yeah, we actually have a bit of an embarrassment of riches if we have a healthy roster.
Yes.
On the offensive line for the first time in a really fucking
That's because
long time.
we're not used to having a healthy roster. They're like, no, more guys.
Yeah. We got to go. Is there anybody on the soccer team that wants to try out on the
more
offensive
guys.
line?
Where are you going to find a soccer player fat enough to play offensive line?
Yes, somebody call the University of Nebraska Lincoln hockey team. I think we'll find them there. For anybody that doesn't know, I'm being sarcastic. They don't exist. Matt, who's your number 4?
Just kicking all these off, huh? He's only this low on my list because he's so young. Jakory Barney is who I have at number 4. I think he already showed he's got some leadership ability as a freshman last year. He clearly has the speed and the electricity. I just want to see more out of him.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to need it.
Offense.
Yeah. I think we're going to need it.
I'm gonna step in here real fast because it's actually aligned with my number 4.
I figured it was.
Just simply because of the fact that if Dane Key and Isaiah Hunter weren't coming in, he's probably my number 2. But because he doesn't have to be the dude yet, he can still sit back and there's guys ahead of him. He can still sit back and
They're
continue
very
to develop.
different wide receivers, though.
Yeah, they're all 3 very different wide
that's what I'm
receivers.
saying.
But he doesn't have that pressure of 90% of fucking throws out there coming towards him.
And the best part of it is if Dane Key and Isaiah Hunter come as build, they will be taking a ton of the attention away from him that by the end of last season, everybody knew what Banks and Nayor were or weren't. And he was getting all the attention.
Yeah.
If he can go back to being what he was in the first 4 or 5 games and being an unknown who isn't getting the automatic chip and double team.
He's never going to be somebody that somebody's going to be surprised by how fast he is again.
No. But you also have, like, I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but in Isaiah Hunter, he runs, like, he was topped out at 22.1 miles per hour or something like that.
yeah.
Dude's got an incredible separation and top end speed, too. We've got some amazing athletes on the offensive side of the ball. Jakory Barney is going to be extremely important and very valuable this year, but I think he doesn't rate up there just simply because he's not a necessity at that position.
Just out of curiosity with Jakory Barney, do you think under Holgerson's offense, as far as more integrated in his offense, I know we saw the last 3 games, do you think Jakory Barney will still be used as more of a kind of behind the line of scrimmage within 5 yards or pulling the top off?
I bet they still do some of each.
They
won't rely on it near as much as they did towards the end of the season.
I'm gonna go, I guess, in between, because I could see him more in that role where he's more slotted, doing more mesh stuff, pulling across the middle, things like that, where you're gonna see a guy that can get lost, and have some of his speed move him laterally to get some of those open spaces. You're not gonna see him in near as much pre-snap motion stuff where he's catching the ball and having to run 20 yards before he's gaining any positive. At least I don't think so.
That's don't know. That's why I'm just.
But
if
you're going to see a receiver do that, it's going to be him because he's going to be in that slot spot.
But if you go look at the majority of what Dana Holgerson's offenses look like, he doesn't do a lot of behind the line stuff. He gets upfield. He gets upfield quickly. He spaces the field a lot better than what we were last year, which I think will leave some of that under stuff that you're going to see. Like, I kind of think of him as like a Samari Toure type, if you will. Like, yes, Toure could take the top off of a defense, but he got a lot of yards after catching underneath and running, like what we thought we were going to get out of Billy Kemp.
Yeah.
Same kind of a thing that we should have seen from Billy Kemp, but I think you have an even more talented, more athletically gifted guy who's quicker. I don't know. I'm getting fired up. I'm getting excited thinking about him. Now I'm like, God, 4 seems low. Who's your 4, Jed?
So my 4, I'm going to the tight end spot like Matt had at 5. I'm doing Heinrich Harberg. If Carter Nelson is unavailable this season, which, it's still kind of up in the air as far as whether or not he's going to be available, I know what I'm going to get from Lindenmeyer. I don't know necessarily what I'm going to get from Harburg. So you asked the question as far as how we're doing our list, most excited or most necessary or, whatever. I kind of have a little bit of both as far as I think Harburg is a necessity, not necessarily who I'm excited to see. I mean, I'm excited to see his transition into a tight end, but if Carter Nelson is unavailable, having just Luke Lindenmeyer, again, who's great, needing Heinrich Harberg to be the guy that he's hyped up to be the athlete that this coaching staff thinks that he is, or believes that he is. I'm not trying to say that in a negative way, but he is an absolute necessity in that transition to a tight end.
Yeah.
So I'm going to cut you off again because, as I would normally do in this show, I've got to go out of order. Not going totally out of order because I'm just jumping to my number 3 because of piggybacks.
Yep.
He's actually my number 3 because of how excited I am about what I think he's going to be.
Yeah.
The way that I look at things with Heinrich Harberg, and you actually heard today, we're recording this on Tuesday evening, you heard in Rule's press conference today him talk about how he was out there talking to his dad yesterday or today.
Yep.
And he referenced, it's not that I don't think he could play quarterback. He could have gone somewhere else and played quarterback. I absolutely believe he'd be a Power 4 quarterback at another school. I think he could.
Maybe.
There would have been a team take a chance on.
A low-level school, yeah.
Sure. But there would have been a Rutgers or a...
no, I mean like Mac and stuff like that, but...
Oh, I'm talking Power 4. I think he would have. Regardless, I think the guy is a freak athlete. You don't win a dunk contest at 240, 250 pounds, only being 6'5".
Yeah.
Without having some athletic ability. The guy's top end and speed, we've all seen it. Him putting on a little bit more muscle. We saw his want to and his ability to block in the bowl game. Holy shit, in the bowl game. Yep. That was cool as hell. Yep. He could be what we've all been expecting Fedoni to be for the last 3 years.
He just doesn't quite pop off the screen quite like Fedoni did. Otherwise, yes, it's the exact same thing.
See, I disagree with that. I think he's a physical specimen who's bigger bodied than what Fedoni was, and he's got more speed than what Fedoni
I don't know
does.
if this is how Matt meant this, but I agreed with Matt in the aspect of when Harberg is doing it, he doesn't look flashy.
Oh, that's fair.
Like,
Yeah,
very
it looks
fundamental
effortless.
and just like.
It looks effortless.
Is that how you meant that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
that's
that
how I
and the
took
fact
but-
that his arms didn't look like they were made in a Madden game like
Well, that
Fedoni's
too.
did.
I don't know the last time you looked at Harberg. They kind of do. He's beefy. Either way,
He just doesn't put on enough weight. I don't care at what weight he's at right now. He needs more. He needs more.
I think you need to see a recent picture of
He
him.
needs more.
No, I don't think
More.
he does.
I want him to be at 300 pounds so we can trim him down a little bit.
He's a huge dude right now. But he's very clearly put on weight since the bowl game. Like that's evident.
Well,
They
yeah,
turned him
you
into a
got to.
tight end. But I truly think he's going to be one of those dudes. Like he's here. They're letting him do this. They're pushing him to do this because they, like you said, they believe in his athletic ability.
They should have done it last year.
I agree, but we didn't have a good enough backup
Yeah,
for him.
exactly.
You can play quarterback at 260 pounds.
Yeah. Jesus
Let's
Christ.
not- let's not
Tommy
do-
Armstrong.
It's like a fat Cam Newton. Jesus Christ. It's Ron Kellogg. Ron the Chunk Kellogg coming back. But I personally think he's going to have a standout season. He could be an under the radar, like MVP of the offense type guy.
Absolutely.
And I take it even a step further because of the connection that him and Raiola have.
Yeah.
They're close friends. They spend a ton of time together. If I'm not mistaken, they roomed together last year for a lot of the season. I can't recall, but I don't know. I think that's going to be an under the radar story going into the season that I think is going to kind of blow up.
Matt, you're number 3.
My number 3 is the only returning offensive lineman that started all 13 games last year, Justin Evans.
That's my number 3 as well.
He's going to be very important at that guard spot.
Yep.
And when you talk about cohesive unit and you talk about starts, especially on the offensive line, he's kind of the only person you can really talk about from last year. So
I've got Justin Evans at number 3 as well. We need him at guard. Obviously, there's always talk about him moving to center because we're replacing Ben Scott. We have another guy that has been talked up as far as being a center, who may or may not be on my list coming up.
he's very high on my list coming up.
He is on mine too. Hopefully, we have the same guy. But also the fact that just in case that guy doesn't work out, the fact that his Justin Evans' versatility playing both guard and center is very important.
Move on.
Is that your number 3?
Yeah.
Okay, because he's my number 2. And here's why. No, this sounds terrible to say this, but here's why. I don't think that there's a world where you keep Henry Lutovsky off the field at guard. You are not going to keep your best offensive lineman that will be in the room this year, Rocco Spindler, who's going to be playing right guard, off the field. Lutovsky's not a center. Evans is a center. Evans will be the center day one in the fall. I'm telling you that right now. That's what I believe.
I thought
You
Spindler
don't-
was coming in specifically to play center.
No, Rocco Spindler's coming in to play right guard.
Yeah.
He's already said it in an interview with Husker Online. I'm playing right guard.
Yeah.
Like he knows that. And he's also our highest paid offensive lineman. He is the most talented offensive lineman coming from a team that played in the national championship last year. Started all season last year. I'm just telling you right now, I think the writing's on the wall. Lutovsky winds up winning the left guard spot. Evans is going to be the center. I'm still going to continue to call him Evans Jenkins, even though that he dropped the Jenkins. Sam Sledge, I'm guessing, is who you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
I think he's an up-and-comer. I think he's still 1 year off. That's just where I am, but go ahead and talk about him.
Well, I'll talk about Sam Sledge when I get to him.
Oh, he's your number 1?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, fuck.
Because he doesn't have a real number 1.
Well, he still has Emmett Johnson to talk about.
You're number 2?
Emmett Johnson.
Yep. Mine as well.
Before you guys talk about him, can I tell you why I left him off the list?
You left him off the list?
I left him off my list.
Yeah, because you didn't make a list. You fucked up. That's how.
Nope.
Well, I'm
No,
sorry.
I left him off my list
I'm
intentionally.
sorry. I think leaving Emmett Johnson off the list is just as egregious as leaving Raiola off the list.
I disagree.
Okay.
I think you guys are both weird.
I don't think Emmett Johnson's going to be the bell cow. That's just where I am. Go
And
ahead.
who do you think
Talk
is
about
going
him.
to be the best?
We're not going to have a bell cow.
You can't. What?
We're not going to have a bell
You
cow.
can't just say that and then okay. Who do you think
Well,
gets the most?
I think Emmett Johnson will have the most carries. Yes, he'll have the highest usage rate. But I don't think, and this is no slight against the kid. I just don't think he's got it all to be that guy. And so because I don't think that, I didn't put him on my list because I'm more excited about the other dudes.
Okay.
I bet he doubles up.
Tell me how I'm wrong by telling me why he's your number 2.
Oh, I was going to, and then you
Yeah,
interrupted me.
we're working on it.
Sorry.
Shut the fuck up so we can talk about it. Jesus Christ. I bet he almost doubles up, if not triples up, everybody else on carries this year. I think he's going to be the bell cow that you don't think he's going to be. And he's going to be better than he was last year. Jed?
I don't know. I would sort of agree with you on the whole bell cow conversation.
Me or him?
You.
Okay.
I would sort of agree with you on that aspect, but
Shaky ground.
to me, he's the most important running back in that room. If he is not successful, then the running back room will not be successful, in my opinion.
Unless there's another stud in there.
But I don't think that there is.
That's possible.
I think the other stud,
Henrik Harberg's going to be too heavy. He can't pull that load.
Jesus Christ.
I just don't think that, like Quentin Ives, I don't think he's ready yet.
No, I'm with you.
So for me, he's
I also don't know that he's that dude either.
to me, he's the second guy. You got the freshman Jamarian Parker coming in that everybody loves. I'm not going to, hitch my wagon to a true freshman running back. I'm sorry.
Absolutely,
That's just who I am. So Emmett Johnson is the most important guy in that room, in my opinion. So to me, we need a running game. And so that's why he's at least going to be on my list.
That's fair.
And that's why I've got him at number 2.
I would have had him at 6, like on my like if I took Raiola off like you did, he would have been my 5th guy. But
I'm not completely disagreeing with what you said as far as how you can't necessarily trust that he can be a guy, the guy, whatever. I understand where you're coming from with all of that stuff. I just think he's got to be on the list because of the running back position in and of itself. We have to have a running back on there.
I get you.
If you're talking about somebody being the guy at their position, I don't know how you can leave him off and then put Heinrich Harberg in, who hasn't played that position.
I agree with you. That's not how I made this list. I made this list based on guys I'm most excited about for this year.
Okay.
I also know that there's still a transfer portal window coming, and that if there isn't the guy in that room, or at least 2 of them that could be that guy in that room, we will add a running back in that transfer portal window.
I was going to say, you said the magic word, so let's talk about it for 2 seconds. How important do you guys think it is that we get a transfer running back in the spring?
I think it's massively important, personally.
I disagree only because if you're a high profile running back that everybody's going to covet, you've already been in the transfer portal.
I agree.
You wouldn't have gone in after the spring.
Unless you're a really high profile, just missed your job and want to go play somewhere where you can be that bell cow.
Well, that's fine, but then you're massively inexperienced.
Well, either that or you thought you were going to be the guy. Like, let's say it's Emmett Johnson this year. You think you're going to be the guy. You're all set up to be the guy, but then Jamarian Parker comes in from St. Louis and blows the fucking doors off the place, and holy shit, he's undeniable. I can't keep him off the field. I'm going to lose out on another opportunity to a fucking kid who's younger than me. Fuck this. I'm out. I could see something like that happening. I'm not saying that that's going to happen here. I don't think that's going to happen here. I'm saying that I think we would be silly to look at a guy who was part of a tandem last year and was only responsible for a quarter of the touchdowns. If you look at just simply his numbers from last year, and yes, he was under an offensive coordinator that quote unquote hated him. I get all those things. I just don't see the way that Dana Holgerson's offense runs. It's not a single running back thing. It's a tandem running back thing.
Football is now, though. So.
And I get that. And so I feel like you have to have another guy come in. Therefore, at the end of the day, I don't see him being the dude in the running back room. And so I just don't see it. That's on my own opinion. And like I said, I made this based on who I was excited about.
That's okay. You
and
know what?
as we've learned, Matt Rule is not silly when it comes to transfers anymore. So
no,
I'm going to remember all of that when we get to the defensive show, when I'm going to be like, sorry, this is just my list. I don't know what it is.
these are my feelings.
Because I have a feeling
Do you even go here?
I have a feeling I'm going to be BJ in the defensive show.
Are you new?
No, I just have a lot of feelings.
Number 1.
Did you guys both say your number 2?
Yeah. Emmett Johnson.
Emmett Johnson.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
I was just making sure.
Did you say your number 2?
Let's talk about Jed's number 1 first, because
He had Justin Evans as
yeah,
number
Justin
2.
Evans is my
That's right.
number 2.
My number one is the guy that I believe is going to be the center, mainly because the coach keeps talking about how he is like doing so well at center, and he has talked about Justin Evans playing guard and all that stuff. I agree with you on the Lutovsky stuff, but it's going to be hard to keep him off the field. But we already talked about that with those 4 tackles that we have. It's a good thing, good problem to have multiple guards to be able to play, even though there's only 2 positions.
Yeah, but can I just pause you for a second? Because you're going to get into talking about Sledge, and I'd like to go back to this conversation just real quick based on what you just said.
That did not last very long.
You have Gatula, Prohaska, and Corcoran, all dudes who at different times you would say within the last 12 games, I don't think those dudes are ready to be starters. You're talking about Lutovsky, who won a starting position over another guy who was a transfer in from an SEC school.
I would disagree
last
on
year.
your tackle situation. I think Gatula did play well enough where I could say he could be a starter.
Okay, that's fine. But not as much as you would have argued that Micah Mazuka deserved to be a starter last year and got beat out by Henry Lutovsky.
No, I would say that Mazuka didn't deserve it because he didn't play the way he should have.
Yeah, does Gatula have issues off the field?
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the best player on the field.
I was talking about even on the field because Mazuka was not early in the season. He was playing the way he should be playing, but later on he was not. But
remember, he got benched in the second game.
Yeah, but even when he came back, he was playing really well. And then through the rest of the season, he was not.
Yeah, I'm with you. My whole point is this: Lutovsky won that job, and I think that he's not going to be denied staying on the field. I just don't see it, and you're not going to take Evans off the field. The guy is the only, like as Matt pointed out, the only dude who started all 12 games last year, other than Bryce Benhart.
Yeah.
13 games last year, other than Bryce Benhart.
Remember, we went to a bowl game last year.
Yes, I got it. Now I got to get that back in my head.
Yeah.
But that's just where I am. But no, go on about Sam Sledge because I am excited about it.
One of the biggest reasons why I have Sam Sledge instead of Lutovsky on here, because honestly, Lutovsky was right there as well as far as being on my list, is the value of obviously the center position for the billion thousand reasons why.
Yep.
Replacing a guy like Ben Scott, one of the best centers in the conference. I just think that position elevates whoever I was going to pick at center, but also the coaching staff continues to bring up Sam Sledge and not necessarily Justin Evans as a center. I think it was today in the press conference or in the last one that we heard from Rule at the beginning of March, where they were talking about the center position and he kept talking about Sam Sledge. And then they were talking about guards and he was talking about Evans being at guard.
Sure.
Like, I'm only going off of what the coaches are saying.
Can't play right now. Just remember that.
Yeah. But and maybe that's why he didn't
bring
bring
up
up
Sam Sledge as much run as he can because Evans doesn't need to practice at center.
Correct.
He spent the first 2 years in Nebraska playing center. That's the other thing that I'll remind you.
My biggest thing is it's might not be more of a Sam Sledge thing that I'm putting it as a center position thing. You know, like last off season, I was all up on the long snapper position, and of course everybody laughed at me because it's just a fucking long snapper. Well, look what happened.
Was so fucking right.
But he had all that extra research.
The kicking camp that he went to.
Fuck off. So that's why. If there's one guy that's going to get mentioned the most for the position that I think is the biggest thing that we need to replace, that's why I'm putting Sam Sledge at number 1.
Can we talk about one thing, though? He needs to change his name to Sledgehammer.
Well, just make that his nickname.
Sam Sledgehammer. It just sounds way better.
It's his WWE name after he leaves and doesn't go to the NFL.
He can do those wrestling moves in the middle of a scrum. It's fine.
The only other counterpoint I'll throw to that, because Matt's going to talk about Sam Sledge in a little bit too, but is
no, I'm not.
You said the coaches keep bringing him up. The coaches keep bringing him up. Okay, cool. That's fine. Remember who they kept bringing up 2 off seasons ago? Fedoni, and he sucked all fucking season long, and he shouldn't have been on the field. Last off season, Jamal Banks. He didn't suck so
they
bad,
also
but he
brought
wasn't
up a
great.
lot of other guys that flourished.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it is kind of their job to talk about the team.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I'm not going to talk about Sam Sledgehammer because
you're right.
He's not on my list. You know who is on my list that should be on everybody's list? From
the doctor.
God, fucking Dylan Raiola. What the fuck are you doing, dude? He is the player 99. Like, he's the one that you put on your fucking list when you're making these lists. You don't not give Jason Tatum the MVP of the finals, even though he had the most points, the most assists, and the most fucking blocks. Okay, You just don't do it.
I mean, Jaylen Brown did guard Luka.
Who gives a fuck?
I echo the who gives a fuck when you're talking NBA. Jesus Christ.
Tis the season. It's fucking March. Dylan Raiola, number one. He's going to be a stud.
Hands down.
Get after it.
It's interesting.
Sledgehammer.
In Rule's press conference today, it was actually really funny because the guy who asked the question ended up basically getting chastised by Rule about, some of you guys decided to take what I said about him not being able to play at 240 pounds and thought that I was saying he was 240 pounds. I picked my words very carefully. That's not what I said. And pretty much, yeah. Mitch was like, "Oh fuck, yeah, no, that was me. I talked about it for a whole week."
It wasn't just him.
I know everybody did.
It's not just Mitch.
I don't know if you guys saw the clips that came out today from the pro day and from the little teaser trailer that they put together for the first day of spring training. Raiola looks like a different player now. He's the little fluff, the freshman fluff that he had last year, looks gone.
Honestly, I never even freaked out about that 240 comment because Rule said you can't be an elite quarterback at 240. Well, I can point to a lot of elite quarterbacks in the NFL that are 240.
Who?
Ben
Roethlisberger was 260, I guess.
Herbert is almost 240. Josh Allen is kind of good. He's 240, 250. I mean,
he's okay.
You can beat, but I think
win a ring.
I think it's on his body, he's not going to be that guy.
I think it was more of the trajectory of where Raiola was going.
Sure.
Was towards the 240 and
it's a little cheeseburgery.
Yeah. I think that's the way I took
You need
that
a
comment.
center and it runs in your blood.
But
we don't. We have too many guys.
No matter how misinterpreted that comment from Rule was a couple weeks ago, that's how I took that. Was more of his trajectory is not in a good place. He needs to more level out. That's how I took that. I
didn't
just
take it
did,
that way.
but I also didn't understand that you can't be elite at 240 because there's been quite a few guys, especially at 6'5", 6'6", that Raiola is.
He also might be talking about college quarterbacks.
That too.
I mean, Josh Allen wasn't
Ben
250 when
Roethlisberger
he came in the NFL. Ben Roethlis cheeseburger. Yeah.
I'm just saying that there have been guys that have been elite at 240.
Wait, are you telling me you left him off your list because you think he's a little tubby?
No, not at all.
Which he's very clearly not when you see the pictures.
No, he looks fantastic.
Even Rule talked. You said that Rule talked about it today. I thought that whole comment 2 weeks ago was overblown like crazy.
Yeah,
but whatever.
My thing is this: Rule is going to say all the negative things he can possibly say, or that could be taken negative about Raiola, because he doesn't want to just be out there running a hype train.
Yeah,
that's smart. All our media loves to do is take a coach's words and say, "Oh, well, he's never said anything negative. He must be the greatest player that's ever fucking happened." He doesn't want all that pressure coming down on Raiola, which I don't think would matter. I think that Dylan Raiola is doing there's been a lot of talk this offseason about him and Emmett Johnson going to a lot of high school games and this and that.
It's not just the media talking the negatives, because the fans, all those pictures of them going to all the other basketball games and stuff. Why isn't he in the playbook? Why should he be? He has a fucking life. Shut the fuck up, you idiots.
He's a life.
Jesus Christ.
The biggest face of the program
God.
is out there being the biggest ambassador to the fans.
You want your quarterback also out there recruiting for your team.
Yes.
And guess what? We're in a world where none of the kids that are going to be at a high school basketball game have ever understood or seen Nebraska football winning.
What was one of the first things? Well, not one of the first things. One of the things Rule said in his very first press conference was talking about how not enough kids in the state are even Nebraska fans anymore.
Yeah.
Like there needs to be more of a connection. And when you have some of your best players, your biggest faces going to all of these different high school basketball games, guess what that is? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
God.
Well,
anything else?
No.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Shut the fuck up. It's a big thing for a guy to be out there being an ambassador for the team, for the brand. I don't know why I said it twice. It's so weird. It's so weird. It's like I've been listening to a grandmother in Boston.
You've been listening to Boston sports talk shows too much, is what you've been listening to.
It's really, but it's something special. I think what Dylan Raiola is doing right now. He's bringing notoriety and recognition to the team, and he's building a fan base.
Yep.
He's building a fan base amongst kids who haven't seen us win, and all anybody likes is winners.
Yep.
Fuck off about giving him too much pressure or praising him too much or thinking he's doing anything wrong. The kid wants to be a superstar. Let him go be a superstar because then he'll play like it.
Yeah. Let him do it.
Yep.
Let him become it. But I do think, I mean, from an on-field play, he had a great first season. Yes, he had a lot of things he could clean up. He has a lot of things he can learn. Just think if he had those things cleaned up and learned last season, he would have thrown for 4,000 yards. We probably would have won 3 or 4 more games. We'll see what a full offseason with Dana Holgorsen, a comprehensive offensive overhaul, even though Rule keeps trying to downplay how different it's going to look. It's all going to be different next year.
Sophomore Dylan Raiola is number 1 on your list.
Yeah.
Jed.
I'm saying this right now. I do firmly believe that there will be odds where Raiola shows up in the top 15 this next season in the Heisman race.
No.
I do think so.
I don't really give a shit.
Yeah, I don't.
I just want him to finish there at the end of the year.
By the way, did you actually give out your number 1, or is it Dylan?
It's Raiola.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I figured.
That'd be
because he's
absolutely
not
crazy.
ludicrous.
Leave him off the fucking list. That'd be crazy.
You left Emmett off the list. It's just the same.
Yeah,
He's
so
not that
what
exciting.
I'm hearing, everybody, is that my list is perfect and their list kind of suck.
Shut up. Mister, I picked 70% on the season. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. But I only picked
appreciate you
30%
guys.
in the NFL. I don't get it.
Yeah. By the way, you're looking at the champ. For those of you that were keeping track of picking prop bets and things like that on our show last season, Matt killed it here, but somehow finished dead last in our league.
If I could just
And
pick,
you were terrible here.
And I was the champ.
yeah,
No. I mean, like for the college ones.
Yeah, we were exact opposites.
Yeah.
if I could have just picked the things that I know, Nebraska football would have been great. BJ apparently doesn't know jack shit about Nebraska football, so listen to me on that list.
Yeah, people listen. They know.
We appreciate you guys taking this ride with us. Look out for the defensive show of this and the top 5 newcomers coming up.
And this may be the most unbelievable night in Cornhusker football history.